I interviewed for one of the company on site and I was verbally given the offer and I was told that I'll receive the offer letter the next week, but then I was completely ghosted.
How is the current job market right now?
So I would say it's pretty wild because of the layoffs. I got interview call from Apple, Rippling, Rubrik, Intuit. So that was just my
Resources that you use for system design, and also maybe you can talk about some of the portals that you use for applying.
I applied on the careers website and then I used Naukri.com. Then I used, if I talk about resources for system design, so
The compensation range of Walmart and an Amazon.
okay, so
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Riddhi Datta. I'm a software engineer, and today with me I have got another software engineer, Krishna. She recently got into Amazon as an SD2, and in today's video we are going to discuss how she got this opportunity, how did she prepare for the role, what were the other offers that she had, and why did she choose Amazon over the other offers, and most importantly we'll also touch upon how did she prepare, especially at a time when engineers have to go to office. So when I was working, I know it's tough to prepare alongside your job, so we'll also learn how did she do it, and we will have more such discussions along the way, so stay tuned. So thanks Krishna, thanks for doing this podcast with me. Why don't you give a quick introduction to my audience?
sure. So first of all, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I'm Krishna and currently I work at Amazon as a SD2. Before that, I worked at Walmart. So I worked at Walmart for around 2.5 years. And before that, I worked as an intern at Cisco for 6 months. And I did my bachelor's in computer engineering. So I graduated in 2022.
Cool, that's nice. So before we get into the interview experience and the offers and stuff, right, I want to first understand how was your experience at Walmart, because you spent a considerable time over there, and what really motivated you to start looking for other companies.
So I joined Walmart as a fresher. So it was a very special company for me. I initially, when I joined, I was working on Java, Spark, and a little bit of data engineering side. But then I moved on. Like after 1 year, I was not quite interested in that. So I showed interest in working as a backend engineer. So since past 1.5 years, I've been working as a backend engineer and Java, Spring Boot, little bit of Python. That is what I was working on.
Okay.
So my experience has been really good. I got to grow a lot. I got to experience a lot of things. But I wanted to basically challenge myself. So the project I was working on was catering to around 200 people. But I actually wanted to experience how things work at a scale and things like that. That is when I decided to switch and I started looking for other offers.
Okay, so when you started looking for other offers, right? I mean, it was not very, it was very recent, I would say. So how do you see the job market? Like when you apply, when you were applying to companies, were you getting enough calls? Because people have this thing, right? Because a lot of people, they do come up to, because I've been out of this interview process and stuff for quite some time. So also I wanted to know on behalf of my audience that how is the current job market right now?
So I would say it's pretty wild because of the layoffs and there are quite a few people who are looking for just one single position. There are people who are experienced, who are laid off, who still have job and want to switch. So there are a lot of people who are looking out. So getting calls was very difficult. Actually, I would say getting an offer was easier than getting those interview calls. I think for around a month or so, I didn't get any calls. I used to just apply consistently every day. I used to spend some time on applying by various methods. But getting a job call, it actually started for me after a month or two.
What were those methods, if you can share?
So I initially, when I started applying, I used to apply directly on the careers portal or via referral. So I used to message people on LinkedIn for referrals. But earlier what was happening with me was some openings used to get closed by the time people used to reply to me for the referral. So I started messaging multiple people for a single role, so it increases my chance of getting a referral. And apart from that, one thing which helped me was purchasing LinkedIn Premium.
Okay.
So it helped me actually message the recruiters directly.
Right.
So I actually prepared like a list of companies I was targeting, and each day I used to spend like 30 or 40 minutes, go to their careers portal and message the recruiters to like that I'm interested and things like that. And it actually helped me. Like for a while I didn't get any calls, but it got me few calls. Like I got interview call from Apple, I got interview call from Rippling, Rubrik, and then I also got an interview call from Intuit. So that was just by cold mailing recruiters for the openings.
Got it. So it looks like a lot of effort you actually put in, and I know it's tough because applying is always like the toughest part. I always feel that, and cracking interviews is another thing altogether. So can you name some of the companies you got offer from, and then maybe we can talk about the toughest interview experience you had?
So I gave interviews for multiple companies. I mean the best offer which I had was for Amazon, so that's why I took it. Even after like once I got offer from Amazon, there were few companies for which I was on final round on, but I didn't proceed further with them. So the best offer I had was from Amazon. And apart from that, there were few companies. So I interviewed for one of the company on site, and I was verbally given the offer. But and I was told that I'll receive the offer letter the next week. But then I was completely ghosted. I didn't receive any mail of acceptance or rejection, anything like that. So that was there. And apart from that, there were two other companies for which I was in the final round, and then nothing, like no replies. And then after a month or so, I received like a rejection mail for them.
Right.
So yeah, that was like that kept on happening for me for quite some time.
How do you handle so many things at one go, because you are having a full-time job, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to prepare alongside the full-time job, and when you are applying for SD2 roles, there are a lot of things, right? Because I also remember when I was applying, there are certain companies like banks, they would ask you Java.
Correct.
DSA is always there, right? And then you have to prepare system design. Now within system design, you have LLD or HLD, right?
Yeah.
So obviously we will get into the preparation part and how to use the resources and stuff. But first I want to really understand that, and also maybe learn from you, because I had my fair share of methods to get past it. But I would also love to know from you that how did you handle it, given the fact that you also had to commute to office, right?
Yes.
And you're staying outside your hometown and not in your comfort zone anymore. So how do you handle and manage time accordingly?
So if I talk about like time management, so whenever I was commuting, I used to open LinkedIn, I used to open Easy Apply, and I used to just apply to whatever openings I was interested in. So by that method, I got a call from a US based startup, Verve. So I interviewed for that. And apart from that, if I talk about like how I used to like dedicate my time for studying, so like weekdays used to be a lot of work, like because you mentioned, right, we have a full-time job we need to cater to. So I used to spend like 2 to 3 hours in night to prepare DSA and then system design and things like that. And weekends I used to like go on for hours. I used to mostly dedicate all my time to the preparation. So
how long did it took for you in total?
Like the entire when I started and I received.
Yeah.
Okay, so I initially started in September, but I was not consistent at all. Because like I used to get very tired after working full time,
Right.
and I used to not feel like grinding on lead code and stuff like that. So, but then in October, I actually received a call to give interview for Google. And that is when I became very serious about preparing, about starting my prep. And then when I cleared the phone screen down, so after that, so earlier I was just doing Google specific prep, just DSA questions asked in Google and things like that. But then once I cleared that and things like that, then I started working on the system design skills. And as you mentioned, there were companies like Apple and other companies which wanted Java and Spring Boot interviews on these things. So I started working on the system design concepts, going through YouTube videos, reading a lot of articles and things like that. So that is how I used to do it. And then I think I started very actively applying in December. And I used to daily take out time, apply and study as well in parallel. And then I gave quite a few interviews. So after Google, I gave interview for Apple in January starting. And then there were a lot of interviews in between. So I think it took me around like 4 months. 4 to 5
So I think
months.
what I get from you is it's always best to start interviewing and prepare accordingly, like alongside the process, because otherwise it's very tough to motivate yourself to actually go and prepare alongside a full-time job.
I mean, take your first 2 months and then only, because every company has that cool off period, which is like 1 year, 6 months long, which is like a very long period. So if you end up like not getting selected for that, then it becomes a problem. You'll have to wait for that much time.
Right.
So I like first 2 months I took out for my prep, but then I started applying. But the thing with me was starting 1.5 months, I didn't get any like calls or any good leads.
Right.
So it gave me like that 1.5 month also.
Right. I think what I did during my preparation or when I was applying, so I had like a couple of companies there in my wish list. So these are the companies that I wish to get into. Like
Correct.
these are my on the top of my priority list. And then there will be companies in the middle section which are good to have, and then there will be companies where I would go if I don't have any offers, any other offers at all.
Okay.
So what I used to do is I used to start applying with the companies who were there at the bottom of my wish list.
Okay.
Because even if I mess up over there, it would be a good practice for me, to go and sit. But that's the thing I
That's a
came up
nice
with. Yeah.
way, by
Maybe
the
you
way.
can like apply it when you're applying next time. But yeah, cool. So now let's come back to So can you share me your Apple interview experience? Because like it's quite unheard of, and I've never personally interviewed for Apple, and I've not heard a lot of people doing that, especially in Apple India, right?
Yes.
I know Apple London hires a couple of folks, but yeah, I mean, if you can shed some light on that.
So I applied to Apple via referral, but I
Okay.
didn't get the call.
Okay.
Then I cold messaged 2-3 recruiters on LinkedIn. That is how I got the opportunity. So it was for Java and Spring Boot backend role. That was the SD2 role. So all of the rounds were eliminatory, and first round was online assessment. So they had coding question. It has to be specifically done in Java. As far as I remember, I think there were 2 or 3 questions. Okay, and then they had DSA round, but it was not specific to DSA. It was DSA plus Java plus Spring Boot. Everything was there. So just one DSA question was asked, which was I would say between easy to medium, and then there were questions on concurrency, threading, then there were questions on dependency injections and things like that from Spring Boot.
Okay.
So I think the major focus was on Java and Spring Boot and how deeply we know the concepts. So that was there. Then the second round, so it was an eliminatory round. Then the second round was LLD, HLD mix. So I was told that they can ask anything.
Anything, yeah.
Yeah. So again, I was asked one DSA question, which was between easy to medium. Then I was asked few Java and Spring Boot question, and then I was asked a design question. So I was asked to design APIs, and then inside that only they asked me Java concepts. So those were the only 2 rounds I gave for Apple, but the majority of their focus was on Java and Spring Boot.
That's actually very interesting and unheard of, because especially in this big tech company, this all DSA and system design,
Yeah.
very structured, no
Yeah.
specific. They're not very tech agnostic, but yeah, that's cool to know. Let us get to your Amazon interview experience. I think 5-6 rounds, I guess.
Including online
coding.
assessment,
So
5
it was an SD2 role,
Yes.
right? So I guess a system design would have been involved as well. So
Yes.
maybe you can walk us through the rounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I talk about how I applied, so I applied to Amazon for like 10-12 times. I didn't get any call. But then for one of the job role, I received a mail that I've been selected for the online assessment. And for that online assessment, there were 3 sections. First was coding, so there were 2 coding questions. We can code in any language. I would say it was slightly on the hard side. And the thing was, for both the questions, there were 15 test cases, and we had to pass all the test cases. Because few of my friends passed 12-13 test cases and they didn't get the interview call. So that was there. And then the second section was related to system design, more of database design. And the third was like a work style assessment, general behavioral question.
Okay.
So once you clear the OA and then you move to the DSA round. So it was a mixture of DSA and leadership principles. So they have 16 leadership principles, which they highly focus on. So it was like a 1 hour round, and 15 to 20 minutes, those questions were asked from leadership principle, and then the rest 40 minutes we had DSA. So if I talk about DSA, 2 questions were there, medium to hard level, and we can code in any language. And then there was discussion on time and space complexity. I had to dry run the code. I had to run the running was not required, but I had to dry run the code and like take a edge case or take any test case and like dry run whatever I'm doing. So that was there. One thing which I found throughout all the rounds in Amazon was they focus highly on leadership principle. So I was asked like a lot of cross questions on whatever I was answering. So they really dive deep in those things. Then round 2 was LLD plus LP again. So a medium level question was asked to me, and if I talk about like what they focus on, so initially like 15 minutes around we were discussing on the requirements and what has to be like, what are they expecting and things like that. So apart from that, they asked me to draw a class diagram, and coding is not required in this round. And yeah, like whatever I was suggesting, there were like a lot of cross questions. So that is there. Then again, like 40 minutes around, we discussed on the LLD problem, and 15 to 20 minutes we discussed on the leadership principles.
Okay.
Then the third round, so round 1 and round 2 were held to me like they were next to each other. In like same day. And if I talk about round 3, so it was next week, and it was a hiring manager round. So it was on HLD and again leadership principle. So this round started with leadership principle, and for around 30 minutes we discussed just the leadership principle. And if I talk about the question for the HLD, so before giving all the rounds, I used to like scan lead code for those round specific interview experience, and I never found that question. So it was slightly on the harder side, I would say. Again, we need to draw the entire design diagram, we need to discuss the trade-offs. A lot of discussion was there on the scalability. So that was there. And then round 4, again, it was again on the next week. That is the bar raiser round. So it is taken by like so we have bar raisers in Amazon, right? So it is taken by them. And I was told by my recruiter that it can be anything. It can be either design, it can be DSA. So nothing specific was mentioned to me. Again, we started with like the leadership principle discussion. So 30 minutes around that. Then the question I was given was on medium to hard level, but it was a mixture of design plus data structures both. So yeah, that was there. Okay. And all the rounds were like eliminatory.
Okay. And no hiring manager round for you?
The third round was hiring manager.
Okay. So hiring manager was the bar raiser, they are the same? Or
No. So the hiring manager is the third round, but the bar raiser are like they're taken by the more
they are the last round.
Yeah, that is the last round.
Got it.
The third round is taken by hiring manager.
So one DSA, apart from the screening, one DSA, one LLD, one hiring manager, and one bar raiser.
Yeah, hiring manager was the HLD round basically.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, nice. That's why he asked you so many leadership questions. Now I connected that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now, can you talk us about resources that you use for system design, and also maybe you can talk about some of the portals that you use for applying apart from LinkedIn.
If I talk about the portals, I applied on the careers website and then I used Naukri.com. Then I used InstaHire and then mostly I was going through the recruiters and pinging them. I think these were the way which I used for applying. If I talk about the resources for system design, so like when I started with the prep, I was just I had no idea
all over the
what
place,
to do,
yeah.
how it has
Yeah.
to be done. I was seeing random videos and things like that, and I was reading random PDFs, I was reading random articles just to like get a hang of it, of what has to be done. But how I started was I first went through few basic concepts. If I talk about HLD, so what is scalability, what is latency, what is caching and things like that, basic things like that. Then I actually saw a few mock interviews because because I had given DSA interviews in past, but I had no idea how these interviews work. So I saw a few mock interviews and I got an idea that okay, this has to be done. And then I started actually going through a lot of YouTube videos. Again, whatever system design, let's say Instagram. So I used to just search Instagram system design, and then whatever video I used to like, I used to watch that. Then there is a website which is, I think, Hello Interview or something like that. So it has pretty good videos. And one thing which helped me for the system design interviews was giving a lot of mock interviews. Yeah, so there is this portal, Pramp. So I used to give like a lot of mock interviews, especially only for system design, both HLD and LLD. So it gave me the confidence I needed. If I talk about low level design, again, I started with this. I first of all saw a few design patterns and few basic concepts. Then I watched again few mock interviews, and then like I read few articles, gave mock interviews. Yeah, and I also like gave mock interviews with my few friends. So that is how.
Yeah, mock interviews I think are very important, and I think ChatGPT now makes it a bit more easier.
Yeah,
you
but
can practice.
Even I think getting a proper design from, like, we can get the DSA solution from ChatGPT, but getting a proper design, I mean, there is no right and wrong in design.
Right.
But I think discussing it with other people, with your friends, or while giving the mock interview, it gives you a great sense of idea.
Right, makes sense. And I think, I mean, with ChatGPT, what happens is at least you get an idea whether you're doing it correctly or not. I didn't have ChatGPT back during the time when I was preparing, but like a lot of my friends are using it for system design.
Okay.
And I think especially for LLD, what I found, I don't know how is it now, but what I found back during my time is there are very less resources. Do you also felt the same? Okay.
Yes, I felt it. For HLD, I used to get a lot of videos.
Yeah, I know.
But
LLD
was very difficult.
Right.
So I used to just take help with my friends. And
actually, the thing is, I think for big tech companies, they mostly focus on the HLD more than LLD, because you don't have to write a lot of code from the scratch. But I know Amazon do ask LLD.
Yeah.
But for example, Google, you just ask only HLD. But I think for startups, they would ask a lot of LLD questions well as.
I gave one interview.
Yeah.
So it was like on site. So it was a proper whiteboarding round where I had to write the low level design. I had to write the classes, proper definition of functions, and little bit discussion of logics and things like that. So it is a US based startup which is expanding in India. So that was a very it was very deep discussion.
Interesting. Cool. So we're almost at the end of the podcast. Before going, I know people really love numbers a lot. So if you can give me a compensation range, not the exact compensation, I know we are not allowed to do it, but at least a compensation range of Walmart for a software engineer 1 role and an Amazon for a software development engineer 2 role. Walmart first and then Amazon second.
Okay, so I joined Walmart straight out of college. So they had one was joining bonus, one was our base, and one was the stocks which they gave over 4 years. But then, like, after a year, they actually removed those stocks and added it to our base only.
Okay.
So that is what they did, something after 1 year.
Okay.
So we didn't get that stocks. But if I talk about like a range, the total CTC range, so it can go around, I think, 2 years back at least, it was around 23 to 25 SDA.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Nice.
like I got promoted to SD2. Then it was around, I would say, depending on the hikes and everything, it would go around 33 plus.
33
Yeah.
plus. And for Amazon?
So Amazon has again three things. One is the base, one is
Joining
the
bonus.
stocks,
Yeah.
and one is joining bonus, which are over 2 years.
Okay.
So
And they are huge.
they are huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I joined as a SD2, and the range, I mean, the number they give is based on how many years of experience you have, how did your interview go, and what was your previous base, and like if you have any other offer and things like that. So I think if I talk about first year CTC, it can go around 60 plus
60
LPA.
plus.
Yeah.
Got it. And then I think you will get stock refreshes and stuff, so it will
Yes,
anyway
yeah.
get be around the same numbers, or it will grow more. Cool. Thank you so much, Krishna, for doing this. We are almost at the end. I mean, we are at the end. I hope this video was insightful, especially for people who are planning to switch around at the same time when you're watching this video. And if you're not, if you're watching this video a bit late, still you can leverage from and learn a lot from this video based on how did she prepare and the resources that she used, and maybe the compensation range is also will also going to help you in case of negotiating, because if you know the range, then it also helps you not getting lowballed from your recruiter. So thank you so much. Thanks once again. If you want to follow Krishna, she is pretty active on LinkedIn, so I will attach her LinkedIn profile and description down below. You can check her content, and you can also reach out to her in case of any need. And don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to my channel, because these numbers motivate me a lot to put out more such content for you. We will see you in some other video. Till then, stay safe and goodbye.